All right, let's cut to the chase. You think you know Canada. Maple syrup, hockey, saying sorry, the quiet, polite neighbor upstairs. But what if I told you that entire image is a front? What if the country we think is the world's most predictable is actually one of its most extreme and bizarre? We're starting with something you see on every map, but never really see. The border between the US and Canada. It's the longest international boundary on the entire planet. We're talking 5,525 miles. For perspective, that's like driving from New York City to Los Angeles and back. Now think about our southern border. We hear about walls, patrols, high-tech surveillance. It's a multi-billion-dollar operation. So what guards this immense northern frontier? What fortress contains the Great White North? The answer is absolutely nothing. For thousands of miles, there are no walls, no fences, no military patrols. In many places, the border is just a clear-cut line of trees through a forest or a small monument in a field. There's a library built right on the border where you can literally walk from one country to the other between bookshelves. Here's the kicker. This isn't a new thing. It's a century-old agreement built on a principle that sounds almost alien today: mutual trust. In a world that builds walls, Canada has 5,500 miles of open-door policy with a superpower. And this baffling openness, the strategic decision to choose vulnerability, is just the first clue that we've gotten Canada completely wrong. So if their foreign policy is that strange, what about their daily life? You've heard Canada is cold, but you don't understand the level of cold we're talking about. In cities like Winnipeg, the winter can plunge to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the same temperature as the surface of Mars. Metal cracks, exposed skin freezes in minutes. How do you even function? Well, in Montreal, they don't just endure it, they disappear. Right beneath the city's surface lies a secret kingdom called the RÉSO. This isn't just a few connected basements, it's a sprawling 20-mile-long underground city. A climate-controlled world connecting more than 1,600 shops, 200 restaurants, 10 five-star hotels, museums, theaters, and even a university. When winter rages above for 5 relentless months, more than 500,000 Montrealers simply descend. They live, work, shop, and socialize without ever seeing the sun, sometimes for days at a time. It's not an escape, it's an adaptation. An incredible feat of engineering that makes you question what a city can even be. It's like they found a life hack the rest of the world missed, building a real-life fallout shelter just to avoid the Tuesday morning commute in January. Now, what fuels a nation that lives underground and has borders made of trust? You're thinking Putin, right? We'll get to that. But the truth is far sweeter and, frankly, a little insane. Get this. Canada is the undisputed reigning per capita global king of donuts. No joke, while America runs on Dunkin', Canada floats on an ocean of fried dough. They devour about 1 billion donuts each year. That averages out to over 26 donuts for every single person in the country. That's more than double what their American neighbors consume. The national coffee chain, Tim Hortons, has nearly 5,000 locations, making it a cultural institution on the level of McDonald's here. This isn't just a snack, it's a ritual, a sugary shield against the cold. And then, yes, there's poutine. Crispy golden fries, squeaky fresh cheese curds, all smothered in hot gravy. It might sound like a dare from a state fair, but a survey revealed that nearly 80% of Canadians themselves chose poutine as the single dish that best represents their country. It's their bald eagle in food form, a source of fierce national pride that defies all culinary logic. If you're realizing that nations, just like people, have these hidden layers of insane, brilliant, and delicious complexity, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're all about digging deeper and finding the truths nobody talks about. Let's shift gears from food to power. The stereotype of Canadian women is that they're nice, polite to a fault. That's a dangerously incomplete picture. The data tells a story of quiet dominance. Almost 62% of them hold university degrees, one of the highest rates in the world. They're not just participating in the workforce, they're at the forefront of medicine, tech, and politics, with one of the highest percentages of women in leadership among all G7 nations. But here's where the narrative veers into truly mind-bending territory. Hidden within this modern, developed nation are ancient cultural customs that defy every Western norm. In some ancient Cree tribes, women hold pivotal leadership roles. The concept of two-spirit grants unique societal and spiritual authority. They could choose partners freely and end relationships without the other's consent. Similarly, some Inuit communities had a tradition that allowed women to change husbands, a level of autonomy in relationships that feels revolutionary even by 2025 standards. Is this the secret strength behind modern Canadian women? This blend of cutting-edge achievement and ancient matriarchal echoes. It's a power structure that doesn't need to be loud to be effective. Speaking of power, let's talk about the national symbol. The United States chose the bald eagle, a majestic apex predator. Canada chose the beaver, a buck-toothed industrious rodent. It almost sounds like a national inside joke. But then you look at the evidence. In the 17th and 18th centuries, beaver fur wasn't just a commodity, it was the economic lifeblood of the nation, like oil is for Texas today. But their real power is in their engineering. These creatures are nature's master builders. The dams they construct are so colossal they can be seen from satellites. One discovered in Alberta stretches an astonishing half a mile long, longer than the Eiffel Tower laid on its side. They don't just build dams, they reshape entire ecosystems. They're a foundational force that literally sculpted the landscape. But Canada also has giants. Journey to Churchill, Manitoba, the undisputed polar bear capital of the world. Here, the beware of polar bear signs aren't a tourist novelty, they are daily reality. Of the 25,000 polar bears, a staggering 15,000 roam northern Canada. These are 1,000-pound predators that can run 25 miles per hour. The town has intricate bear alert systems. Residents use specially designed bear-proof trash bins. They live side by side with a magnificent danger, where a wrong turn could make you part of the food chain. This isn't a zoo, it's a high-stakes game of coexistence. So, after all this, the final question. This land of ghost borders, underground cities, donut obsessions, and killer bears, could you actually live here? Let's talk numbers. Based on 2025 estimates, it might be more attainable than you think. A one-bedroom apartment in a major city center could range from $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Suburban living could lower that between $800 and $1,000. Add in utilities, internet, a public transport pass, and groceries, and you're looking at a monthly layout of roughly $1,700 to $2,000. For a G7 nation boasting universal healthcare and surrounded by stunning natural beauty, the numbers are surprisingly manageable. The Canadian dream, it seems, isn't a fantasy, it's a trade-off. You trade the blistering sun of Arizona for the biting cold of Alberta, but you might just get a life that's more affordable and in some ways more wild than you ever imagined. So, the next time you see that maple leaf, don't just think of a quiet, polite neighbor. Think of a nation of contradictions, a place that built its identity on trust, not walls, on communal survival, not just individual success, a country that celebrates its inner weirdness with frozen hair contests and donut obsessions. Canada isn't just the country north of the border, it's a living, breathing enigma hiding its most fascinating secrets in plain sight. What's the one fact from this journey that completely shattered your view of Canada? Drop it in the comments below. And if you want to see how this nation's quiet exterior hides a surprisingly tough military, check out our last video right here. Keep questioning. Keep exploring.